Hello, I'm Tom from Gear4music and I'm joined by Paul from Yamaha. We're going to be looking at the brand spanking new PS500 from Yamaha. So we're going to do a deep dive and find out what makes this such a great piano, especially for beginners. So if you enjoy this sort of video, don't forget to click like and subscribe. Paul, thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So we've got the new PS500 in front of us. So what makes this a great piano, especially for beginners?
Oh, Tom, where do I start? The Yamaha PS500, an amazing instrument. And it's actually an instrument that's pretty unique because it does some very, very special stuff. But before we dive in and have a look at exactly what it does, I always like to start with the four most important things for any of our viewers that are looking to buy a digital piano. Which digital piano do I buy? Four things that's going to kind of help you keep on the right track. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Very important. What does it sound like? And what features does it have? How is it
certainly a lot in here.
Absolutely. Let's cover the looks thing first. You know what? It's great. It's portable. So we have a model series called CSP, Clavinova CSP series, which is a cabinet version instrument. And this is really the portable version of that range of instruments. It looks great. It's got an optional stand and an optional 3-pedal system that you can buy, or you can just put it onto an X-frame so you can take it out and do some gigs or take it to your friend's house or whatever. So P is very portable. Let's look at the next thing, which is, of course, the action, or what does the keyboard feel like? Because that's a really important thing when you're buying a digital piano.
Especially for beginners as well, to make sure you pick up that right technique from the start.
Absolutely. And I think, many people who are coming to piano for the first time, their teachers might even say, you need to buy something with 88 keys that is fully weighted. Yamaha even have a graded action, so it's even more in keeping with the traditional acoustic piano where the keys are heavier at the bottom and they progressively get lighter. So the action, as we call it, it feels buttery smooth. It's just a pleasure to play. Whether you're a beginner or a professional alike, it just feels great. What does it sound like? Well, that's, again, a very important thing. And of course, as we talk about quite a lot, we have at Yamaha a concert grand, one of a top of the range concert grand, and it's called
CFX.
And it's beautiful. And it lives in PS500. Here it is. Just a beautiful sound.
Quite a rich, bold sound.
Really is. And again, for beginners and professional players alike, if you play it softly, we're going to get a soft sound. If you play it harder, you're going to get a much louder and a different sound. And of course, playing piano is all about the texture and the feel and the colour of the sound and the behaviour between the instrument and the player. So big tick in that box. It just feels and it sounds amazing. But PS500 has a lot more to offer under the hood. And to show you that, we could very simply use the onboard screen that we have here. And we can see on this screen that we can actually change the voices quite simply by pressing the plus button. We move to Bosendorfer. If we press it again, we move to Pop Grand. So we've got lots of voices on the instrument. We've got buttons that says guide, tempo, song, style, voice, metronome. Now we can use these features to do lots of different things, but I want to use something that's going to allow us to use these features a lot easier. And that is a tablet. Now I'm using here an iPad. You can use selected Android devices as well. But just watch what happens when I plug the tablet in. Now, you can use this wirelessly if you want, but I've got a cable here that I'm just going to attach to the instrument. And as soon as I attach it, the iPad communicates with the instrument, and you notice the screen on the instrument has disappeared.
So less distraction on the instrument. You can focus everything on the iPad and playing.
Everything is now visual through the tablet. And I think that, first of all, is amazing. So let's have a look at what we've got here. First of all, remember we've talked about CFX. So there's our CFX. Let's change that to a Bosendorfer. Let's change that to a Studio Grand. To an upright piano. And just compare those voices again. If you take your Bosendorfer piano and compare it to the upright piano, completely different voice.
Quality of sound, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Now, that's one way of using this. We can even step into what we call the piano room. And if we step in here, we can actually see all of the things that we can edit on the particular instruments, on the pianos. So for instance, I can change the string resonance and the damper resonance, something called VRM, virtual resonance modeling, which is an incredibly clever thing that will basically recreate all of the noises that's happening in an acoustic grand.
Because when you scroll through all the different menus, you can see all these things, but what do they actually mean? And by having the visual representation on the iPad, it gives you a clear idea of quite what it is that you're amending.
They say a picture paints 1,000 words, and it certainly does with this. So we can see all of this stuff. I can even put the instrument, I can take my piano and put it into a different environment. So for instance, if I wanted to play my piano, not in a room, but I wanted to maybe put it on a stage or a chamber or a cathedral, I can play my piano in different environments, which I think is fantastic. We've got a concert hall and a recital hall. So I can put the piano into different environments. I can change the brightness. I can even change the way that the instrument reacts. So if you've got a very new player, maybe a young child, that's very timid, you can even change the way that the instrument reacts so that they can learn to play brilliantly. Now, we've talked about, we've said that, learn to play. That's a really
key feature with this.
Absolutely. Let's come out of that screen. I'm going to press done, and we're going to go to an area of Smart Pianist. That's the app. And let me just explain why we're going here. When someone gets a piano or somebody wants to learn to play the piano, that's a really important, fundamental part of owning an instrument. You have to learn to play it, because if you can't play it, it's not going to sound very good. So we need to learn how to play. Now, traditionally, you would then have to get some lessons, you'd have to get a teacher, so on and so forth. At Yamaha, we've developed a system that is incredible. Let's go in to the song section on the iPad. It says song, and I'm going to select the area that says lesson. Think about a music lesson. If you go to your very first piano lesson, as I'm sure you've done in the past, Tom, the first thing the teacher is going to do is give you a music book.
Yeah.
There are the music books in the iPad. Now, this is a traditional piano tuition system, so I'm just going to go for the first one, Bayer 1, and it says Bayer 1, lesson 1, 3 hands. Problem.
Only 2.
I've only got 2. What does that mean? Well, it means that in your very first lesson, the teacher would sit here, and the teacher would play the accompaniment part of the song. So something like, the student would sit here to the right-hand side, and they would play one hand, because it's easier to learn with one hand, they would play the melody line with their right hand. Or something of the like. So teacher, student. I can't do it all together because I haven't got
I've got 3 hands.
When I press done, there on the screen is my very first lesson. Now, Tom, let's go right back to the beginning. Let's say I can't play the piano, I don't know where the notes are, I can't read music, I'm an absolute beginner. This is my very first lesson. When I press the start button, the orange box is going to move towards the very first note, and it's going to ask me to play it. But as we've just said, I don't know where it is. Watch this. Streamlights. So what's actually happening is it's telling me, just like a teacher would, that that note is here. And when I play it, I can actually hear the teacher playing the accompaniment part, helping me, driving me on. And because it's Streamlights, it's not just telling me what note to play, it's telling me when to play it. Now, if I get the note wrong, it's saying, no, 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 that's the correct note, which
And it's flashing there as well.
exactly as a teacher would do. And on it goes to further that exercise. Now, of course, you get out of things what you put into things. So the more you practice, the better you get. Let's scroll forward 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Let's just go back to the book of music. In the book of music, I have all of these different lessons. And this is just the first book. So let's go to lesson, I don't know, should we try lesson 92?
How much of a pianist are you feeling?
Let's have a look. Oh my word.
Oh.
That looks like a spider has crawled out of an inkwell and across the page. But that's a much, much more advanced piece of music. And we can see that we've got right hand and we've got left hand. Again, the very first thing a teacher would do, you know, if you're at that level, the teacher would play the piece of music for you. So the teacher's telling us or showing us what the piece should be like and how it sounds. Now it's my turn to learn how to play it. Now, if I was to press the right hand part, that's essentially taking the right hand part out. So I have to play it.
And you can focus then just on one line, one hand at a time to
Absolutely.
build up that proficiency.
I'm going to press guide because the guide is like having the teacher in the room. So now I've got the guide selected and I press start. The teacher is going to play the left hand and I'm going to play the right hand. And there's the first note. Now, the teacher's moving at such a speed that she's pushing me on a little bit too fast. So maybe I just want to slow that tempo down because I'm just starting to learn the piece. Blue light indicates a black note. Oops, wrong note.
And it's paused and it's waiting for you, showing you where to play.
Absolutely right. Practice, 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 practice with your right hand. But what about this hand? If I select left and tell the teacher I want the teacher to play the right hand sounds or the right hand melody, I now have to play the left hand so I can practice with my left hand.
It's all there and it's telling you exactly where to play.
Of course. Now, of course, scales and arpeggios are brilliant to learn, and that's from an academic point of view, that's going to help develop. And we've just looked at the very basics of it.
And it also helps if you're developing to be a different type of music, like a jazz musician, all based on chords.
Absolutely.
So it's worth putting that time in and learning.
Absolutely. Now, of course, we also have other features on board that you can download MIDI files onto the iPad. It's very, very simple to do. Download a MIDI file, import that into the iPad, and we then don't just have the piano to play along with, but we also have a full orchestra. We have a full backing track. Now, to show you that, just to save time for the purpose of this video, I want to go to another part of Smart Pianist, which is, I mean, it just keeps getting better.
So much involved with this app.
Let's just, and actually, before we go there, we can actually do another feature called audio to score. Now, this is crazy. You can take an actual audio file, so your favorite band or your favorite musicians, you can download that to iTunes, and the app will look into your iTunes library, see the track, and it will convert that and give you a score to play along with
your favourite song.
Your favourite track.
That is really impressive.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's all part of this app called Smart Pianist. Let's just give you an idea of what more powerful stuff this app has. If I go into the style section, now we've talked about us following it. It's the teacher and it's telling us what to do. And you know what? It doesn't take long, Tom, before you can get a few chords going and so on and so forth. Now, I don't know about you, but the very first thing I wanted to do when I started to learn to play was, once I'd learned a few chords, I wanted to play along with my favourite band. So what I did, I went and bought a piece of sheet music, and I bought the back in my day, it was cassettes, not giving away anything there. And you put the cassette in and you could play along with it. We can do something that's incredible. Let's just have a look at this. This is the style section, or as I like to call it, the backing track section. Now, let's say you wanted to play a bit of, I don't know, whatever type of music you like. Let's have a bit of rock, of rock music. Now, if I was to play a little bit of rock, let's say something like, that's great. Yeah. That's me playing the piano. Fantastic. But wouldn't it be better if I could play the piano and
have everything else with
have the band with me at home? Well, now you can. Get a listen to this. Band's following what I'm doing.
There we go. And it's even following your chord progression as well. It's notated on the screen what chord.
Absolutely. It can follow your chord progression. It just follows what you play. We've got variations on the screen, A, B, C, and D. That's like the verse and the chorus and the second verse and the second chorus. And we've got hundreds of different styles on board. So whatever type of music that you want to play, it lives.
You've got it. There. Again, it's similar to a band in a box, isn't it? You've got everything you want powered by the iPad.
You can slow it down, you can speed it up, you can take parts out, you can start editing that style, you can take the drummer out or make the drummer louder or change the bass player, or you can do pretty much whatever you want. There's another thing I'd also like to show you, and that is, let's go back to voices, because you've heard the voices that's in the band, but we've also got voices that are accessible to play. So if I go back into here and press voice, I can now say, okay, I don't want a piano. I want a guitar. Yeah. Let's go to the guitar section. So across on the left-hand side, I can see piano, organ, guitar and bass. Let's select guitar. And from that, let's select, well, we've got different guitars along the top of the screen. Let's go back to nylon acoustic and select concert guitar. Now when we play, we'll hear a concert guitar, but a super articulated guitar, as we call it, which means you don't just hear the notes of the guitar, you actually hear all of the nuances as well, like the squeak and the notes.
So basically replicating what would happen live with an actual player there, the sound of the slides and everything.
Absolutely.
So you hear that sort of let off, don't you?
Absolutely amazing. And that runs through to lots of different sounds. We've got steel guitars, 12-string guitar, so on and so forth, bright guitar or bright chorus guitar, electric guitar. And on it goes from there. We've got string orchestras. We've even got choirs. It has lots and lots. We've got hundreds and hundreds of voices, and we can also layer the voices, which is brilliant. Yeah. If we go back to, let's say, piano, we can take our piano. And we can layer a voice across the top. So if I wanted to press layer, and I wanted to select, let's have, I'll tell you what, let's go to synth, and let's go to synth pad. Let's have all or nothing, it says there. Now let's say that synth pad is maybe a little bit loud.
It's a bit loud for me, so you can easily tweak that, I would assume.
Let's go in and take the layer voice down. It's amazing.
Much more subtle there, so you can really fine-tune all the different elements.
Absolutely amazing. You can record. In fact, if we do that very quickly, if I press record and I press new song, you can record an audio file or you can record a MIDI file. I'm sure if the customers want to find out what the difference is between them, you can quite happily explain that. Let's press new song and I'm going to play something like, let's just play a scale. So there's my recording. I press stop. I'm going to save that and watch this, Tom. When I go in to song, not only is it going to play it back, it's actually scored it for me
all notes
as well. And it's telling me the notes I've played as well.
So if you wanted to play along with yourself, record one part in and then build up.
Absolutely.
Composing tool as well.
16-track sequencer, so you can record and record and record and record and build up a full composition, if you like, all using the app.
And then export it.
Absolutely. Export it. You can create a WAV file and, of course, attach that to an email and email it to your auntie that lives in Australia, maybe, and she can have a listen to what you've been doing, what you've been learning. It's just incredible.
Wow, there's so much packed into here, and it's ideal for beginners. Certainly, you know, you've got your cascading lights, you've got your score functions, you've got your lesson functions, you've got all the great sounds that you need, you know, if you want to focus on playing piano. You've just got everything there with a great action. Portability is certainly what you need. Take it on the road, take it wherever. It's just so much crammed in. So I think it's a great piano, especially for beginners. And then even if you did want to progress further as a player, you can get that and advance on as well. So that's fantastic.
And if you've forgotten the iPad or mum and dad's took the iPad to work or whatever, if you unplug it, the screen just appears
straight again,
and so that you don't need the tablet to be able to use the instrument because we have this screen on board. It's all been thought of. It's just fantastic.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Paul, for joining us today.
You're welcome.
And if you enjoy these videos, don't forget to click like, subscribe, and comment below. Thank you for watching.